This is where the fun begins.
Hello there. How's it going?
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today I'm going to talk some thoughts about, philosophy, future of the Black Series kind of stuff, and, maybe what all the separate lines are all about. You know what they say, opinions are like assholes, and everyone has one, so I'm going to just share mine, and maybe we'll disagree, maybe we'll agree, maybe we'll come to some middle ground. I'd like to openly say before going into this that this is just my personal opinion. I don't know that there's a right or wrong here. And so if we disagree, let's absolutely talk in the comments if you feel like it. But let's not be hostile. So there's been some discussion lately going on about the newly revealed long pipelined Black Series Momaw Nadon Hammerhead from the Cantina. And there are some people that are absolutely excited to finally be getting some Cantina alien representation, and there are some people that are like, oh, it's a deluxe, I'm going to wait for it to go on to clearance, and then there are some people, this is kind of the camp I'm in, that don't really care about that kind of stuff in my figure collection, and then there's other people that think that we should take a shift to this, and we should take a step back from clones and Disney Plus and sequels and prequels and and like I said, everyone's got an opinion. But here's where I'm at. I'm going to share my thoughts. I put a shirt up on my Printify shirt, so I guess here's a little plug. But it is, the Ollie's exclusive line, and it shows the new Momaw Nadon with Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba, because those are notorious Ollie's peg warmers. But let's talk about that a little bit. There is absolutely a little bit of a trend when they do anything from the Cantina. The Momaw or not Momaw Nadon, the Ponda Baba and Dr. Evazan. Those are swinging on all these pegs right now. The Cantina band, the modal nodes, those are hitting discount. You look online, you find them on discount. You go to Walmart, there's usually at least one of them sitting on the shelf. They're not flying off the shelves, even though some people would like to say that that's the best army builder we could have gotten. I haven't picked up any of that. And it goes back to the beginning of the line. I mean, think back to the second wave of Orange Line Black Series. They couldn't move Greedo for anything. They were 8 figures in, and they were already making peg warmers. And that's kind of my take here, is I don't think that the Black Series is really the line for this kind of thing. I know there's a lot of people that swear by the ideology of, complete the 96, and that's more of a TVC thing. And I don't know even necessarily that's a good idea for TVC, although that's not a line that I, dig too deep into. But, I think back to the original Kenner line, and they made 96 figures for 3 movies. Those 3 movies had, 10 named characters, and each of them had a somewhat unique outfit each movie. So, there's maybe, 30 figures. Not even, because, Vader and the Stormtroopers and 3PO and R2 didn't change any. There's probably, 25 Han, Luke, Leia, Lando, and then Vader, Stormtroopers, your essential core characters. Now, over 3 years, or over 6 years, 3 movies, 25 characters, I mean, that's a really sucky action figure line. You want to flesh it out. And so back at that time, the idea of making every background alien, every guy who walked through for 2 frames, Glup, Shido, and everyone else, it kind of made more sense because there was a lesser assortment. And now looking at, the modern day Star Wars just as a whole, we have 12 movies and 3 animated series and 6 live action series. And then, although they are much lesser important, you have, all the video games and the books and the comics, and there are so many different stories that all feature their own main characters. And then some of the main characters overlap to different portions of the franchise. Well, now, making all of the Cantina aliens kind of doesn't really make sense, because it's kind of, Hasbro, and I'm not in the camp that, Hasbro made Momaw Nadon instead of making someone I want like Savage Opress, but you also have to run with the logic that Hasbro can only make so many figures a year, and so if you want there to be a bunch of Cantina aliens, there's a bunch of stuff that's not going to come out. we're 2 years down and we're finally getting a couple of Book of Boba Fett figures. We're like a year post and we like have no Mando season 3 figures. I guess the Fleet Commander. Like, there are a lot of newer main characters that we would like to have in the line. And it's just kind of frustrating, when like Hasbro goes on a live stream and they pipeline, they're going to do a live action Thrawn and stuff. And people get a little amped for him because, he's from Legends and all that. But there's always that one guy going, bring back the 96 or whatever. And I'm like, no, that's dumb. That's pointless. Like, and I think, and this is where, my personal philosophy is going to step in. I think that if, the Cantina aliens and the background characters are what you want to focus on, maybe the Black Series isn't for you. And I'll elaborate. I think you might be more satisfied with the vintage collection and then prior 3.75 lines. I'd like to think that not every Cantina alien needs to be hyper articulated as long as they look halfway decent. And in the early 2000s, they were making tons of these Cantina characters, and they might be, 12 POA or something, but they were good sculpts, and a lot of them would come with portions of the bar and booths and stuff, and just a lot of stuff that you could really make a little Cantina display if you wanted to. And, like, as long as you don't care that they don't have, some modern 50 POA buck or something, like, that'd be, that might be the choice. People talk about how in TVC they don't get as many of the new modern characters that they'd like. I see that happening a lot when Black Series will reveal, a whole wave dedicated to Ahsoka characters, and then TVC will announce that they're getting Ahsoka. And, like, that's just kind of the thing, is, like, if you engross your line in doing all the past, you're not going to be able to do as much of the new, and there needs to definitely be a balance. And for those that want 6-inch aliens, I'm really happy that you got Momaw Nadon. But I'm kind of the thought that, Momaw Nadon is taking up a space that could have been better used. And I'm not unhappy that it happened, but I just don't want the Black Series to turn into some Cantina alien line. It hurts the line, because there are people that are saying already that they're going to wait for clearance on them because they just know it's going to happen, and it is. By the end of the year, I'm guessing that we're going to see Momaw Nadon in Ross or Ollie's or some discount store, because it's going to be a fan channel exclusive, yes, but after a year of not being able to dump them for retail for 40% off, they're going to liquidate. It's just what happens. Where do you think Ollie's got their solid cases of Evazans and Baba? Those, solid cases don't go to Walmart and Target. Those go to online retailers, and maybe it was Amazon or someone. But point being that these historically hit clearance historically is not good for the line. Hopefully they've made a lesser quantity, having learned that most of their other ones have gone to clearance and closeout stores. But I just think, like, if you want to have a really cool Cantina display, the Black Series might not be the place for you. You might want to go and pick up some of the older 375s and build yourself a nice little diorama, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But when I think of the Black Series, they've made it pretty clear. It's not about dioramas. If it was, they would actually sell that kind of stuff. And I get it. We got a little portion of the bar and an SDCC thing. But they're not selling play sets. We're not getting Boba Fett throne rooms like TVC is. We are getting, highly detailed sculpts of characters with the accessories that are required for them and nothing else. We're not getting vehicles. We're not getting dioramas. We're not getting, we get build-up packs that just have extra accessories, but we're not getting, these big terrain play sets like 3.75 has historically gotten over the years. And so that's kind of my thought. I mean, fire off in the comments what your thoughts are. And I'm not saying that, you can't enjoy both, but there are people that, want to chant balance the scales. I think the difference in scales could give us the potential of just getting different things depending on what scale you're in. It doesn't have to be the same across both of them. One of them can just kind of be for more one type of collector, and the other can be for more another type of a collector. So that's my thoughts. Thanks for listening to this 10-minute conversation video, I suppose. I'll catch you next time. Until then, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.